Namaste. So the question is that those who are not connected with Mother and Sri Aurobindo, what about their psychic being? What is the work happening in them? Fortunately, God doesn't follow organizational rules. First of all, it is very difficult to say who is Juda, really connected to Mother and Sri Aurobindo or not. There may be people who worship Mother, but purely to fulfill and do her work, apparently, but purely to fulfill their ambition. Mother for them, Mother and Sri Aurobindo become a platform for their own rise. Sorry to say, but this is a fact. Mother has said, they have made an image of me and they worship. Mother's work, you see platforms, you see programs where you will have politicians, you have timing 5:30, but people will wait because politician has not arrived. You know what it means when you say 5:30, you have invoked the mother's presence, you are making the divine wait. Their photograph will be somewhere on the side where somebody will go light a lamp, but everybody is focused on the person who is lighting the lamp and not the source of light. And then people sit. Just see sometimes the photographs of events. Point out one where they have taken a photograph of Mother and Sri Aurobindo in their fullness. You'll see the difference. It's not about invoking in the beginning something. No. You'll see the difference. So, there is this idea that, those who are working for the Mother and Sri Aurobindo, more important question is, who are they whom Mother and Sri Aurobindo are using for their work? See the difference? Narada and Hanuman. Of course, both are excellent bhaktas, so it may not be the best comparison. But we can say Ravana, who believed he is doing God's work. There is a difference between believing that you are doing divine work and actually doing divine work. To do divine work, you have to be free of all desire, desirelessness, equality. These are, zero ambition. These are big things for a human being. How does he say, if you want to be a true doer of the divine work, first remove from yourself all self-regarding ego. You don't even bother about putting your names, pictures, all these things. All human things, they crash. They have no value, zero value. What is their value? On one side you are saying, this is a frontal personality, this is not the real me. And then you see one place, Mother Sri Aurobindo, some seminar, and then all those big faces with nice written descriptions. I find it very funny. So this is how I am doing work of Mother and Sri Aurobindo is a very big word. Perhaps none of us really can use it. But yes, when we become conscious that Mother and Sri Aurobindo have been exceptionally, with their exceptional grace, have picked up dust and have made it their Mathe ka Chandan or some use for them, then all that one has is gratitude. So, this one part. Second, what about those who don't even know about Mother and Sri Aurobindo? Well, the psychic being is again independent. It knows the divine. And the divine may come to different souls in different ways. This is the ancient teaching. Not all are meant for turning to Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. So, for this psychic being, which is developed psychic being, there is nothing like proselytization. Converting others to your own. No, that is what Sanatana Dharma is about. Somebody else may be drawn to Sri Ramakrishna and have the same spirit of surrender, faith. Wonderful. It's not like it is first stage, then it will develop to Sri Aurobindo. No, it may not be. He may be meant for this path. Somebody may be even following a hardcore religion. Islam, let me take that ultimate hardcore. In fact, which is no more any religion. And yet, something within is developing at one point, he begins to pick up just those little words which, however distorted, carry in them some sense and goes into a different direction. There have been Sufi mystics who say, Holi khel rahi hai kis piya ke saath with Krishna. They were Christian mystics. They were Muslim mystics. Look at Rahim Khan Khana. He completely is so full of rasa for Krishna. So, but they go beyond religion. But they are in religion. Who can say that Rahim, psychic being, is not developed? Tremendously developed psychic being. Christian mystics, look at some of the prayers of the Christian mystics. While on one side inquisitions were taking place, which was dark, yet you will see that the touch of mystics, Christian mystics. Look at the ancient writings of many of the many of the Indian saints. Sri Aurobindo quotes, one is, of course, Mirabai in northern saints, South India, Alvarez. Look at their writings. Andal means you wonder that, my God, what love there is in this poetess. Of course, it's a whole genre of writers. Such a developed psychic being. So, psychic being development, one doesn't have to come to Sri Aurobindo. It will develop in many ways. But if one has to pursue further the yoga of transformation, then one comes to Sri Aurobindo. So, psychic being has always been there, but of course, in Vedic age, you may not find it much. That's why you don't see that kind of bhakti in Vedic age and even in the Upanishad. Because psychic being was still developing. It needs many cycles. It may sound very strange, but mother has confirmed this, so I can stand. And which is logical. Psychic being takes many lives to develop. And that's why you don't find that kind of flaming bhakti as you find post-Gita. Why? Because the psychic being, there is jnana, tremendous jnana, Vedanta, end of knowledge. There is also touch of works, but not like service, but love, devotion. You find post Krishna. So we can say almost that after Krishna's birth and advent, one thing that happened was the evolution of the psychic being suddenly received a great fast forward track. And that's why the Leela of the Gopis, which you don't find anywhere, Gop and Gopis. And then, after these psychic beings have developed, now what next? Many of them don't want nirvana and salvation. They have grown through a whole thousands years of cycle. They're not for wasting all this. They want to do God's work. And therein Sri Aurobindo says, come and let us, as he says very beautifully in one of his letters, I am not here to convert anyone. I am not here to create mutts and sannyasis. I am here to call the souls of the strong to the Leela of Krishna and Kali. So those who have a developed psychic being through all this entire process, now they have a choice. That's why in Savitri you have the soul's choice and the supreme consummation. They have a choice. Developed psychic being has this choice. Withdraw from this world. Okay. Now that line has become different. Then you can, go through, let's say, the path of Sri Ramakrishna or another path because you want to annul. Or you want to do God's work, be something like an instrument. Or ultimately you want to participate in the work of transformation. That's a later part. For transformation, you need to come to Sri Aurobindo. But not everybody who has come to Sri Aurobindo is for transformation. That one must remember. One may be taken up. It's like you may have done your higher secondary from different schools. But if you want to do a specialized college, the themes are lesser. But there are some people who enroll in a school at kindergarten which will take you right up to PhD. So Sri Aurobindo school is like that. If one doesn't have a developed psychic being, you can develop it through this process. Later on, you can take to the yoga of transformation, may not. There are people who have studied and grown up and they have gone into another path. The soul has that freedom. It's not inevitable or okay now, but there is a strong stamp which they have received, which may pull them. But people even go out into the world, do all kinds of things. So this is how one has to look at this. Psychic being in the course of its evolution through different paths. It may evolve even without a religious path. A psychic being may decide in this life, I have done enough with religions. I want to live for what is true, good and beautiful. Has the courage to give its life for that. It's extraordinary. Who can do it but somebody who is a developed soul? It may not conform to any religion, but lives for what is true, what is beautiful, and what is good. So all possibilities are there. Yet the soul within, the person may not be conscious of the psychic being, but the soul within has grown through that experience. So it grows through many ways, many processes, different religion, not religion, everything. And yet at the end of it, when it is grown, then it is a question. It may grow through this yoga, it may grow through other yogas. And at the end of its growth, there is this choice. Or before it's reaching that, like your placement campus interviews. So before it has completely developed, the time is coming for the choice. That's when the divine says, Chalega, will you come with me? Participate in this great adventure. If you say yes, you are finished. If you say no, the divine respects that choice. And that no may be a temporary no, who knows? You may say no now and later on it turns back. For a psychic being which is developed, it is free to choose. And it is not like that once it is completely developed, the laws of normal evolution and choices do not apply to it. That original blueprint only one will know when it is developed. So there are people who have developed through other religions and they have developed psychic being, and then they suddenly turn towards Mother and Sri Aurobindo because they find a completer truth. There are those who have developed here, gone through this, and have gone away into some other path. So developed psychic being is, I'm presuming it's a developed psychic being, I'm just saying, developed psychic being will automatically recognize the mother. In fact, that is one sign. If you're asking for a sign, irrefutable sign of a developed soul, it will recognize the mother without a word. It may not have ever heard that there is something called a mother, someone known as the mother. You may not have even indoctrinated or shown a picture. The person has not read books. Nobody is given a lecture. The moment such a psychic being discovers the mother, chance, accident, call it whatever, though behind it always is the divine impulsion, and Sri Aurobindo, it knows who is she. Because there is a description of the psychic being, beautiful in one of the Upanishads. Bhidyante hridgranthi chhidyanti sarva sanshaya. When the heartstrings are rent asunder and the psychic emerges, then all doubts vanish. That's why when psychic being is active, many lower things cannot come to the surface. It has that capacity. But are they transformed? No. They hide their head in the subconscious dusk, waiting for their moment to emerge. They are not transformed, but they cannot come in front of that. If you have the soul in front, they will automatically go away. They are not transformed. Transformation is a long process. Even the ego does not vanish with the emergence of psychic being, but it becomes a very pliable personality. It begins to respond to the divine touches. There is the ego, but it's like a thin and an instrument of the soul. Complete annulment of ego comes with the self, the cosmic spirit. Namaste.